Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Jaya Jaya Ram. Jaya Jaya Ram. Om Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedhase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Om Shri Ramachandraya Namaha. Atulita Baladhamam Hema Shailabhadeham Danujavana Krishanum Jnaninam Agraganyam Sakala Guna Nidhanam Vanaranam Adhisham Raghupati Priya Bhaktam Vatajatan Namami. Raghupati Priya Bhaktam Vatajatan Namami. Om Shri Hanumate Namaha. Om Dhyayami Chinmayanandam Gurudevam Mahamatim Prema Purnam Kriyashilam Sada Lokahite Ratam Kripalum Sundarakaram Samartham Satyadarshinam Vacha Tattva Prakashinya Shoka Moha Vinashinam. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Om Namah Shri Tulsi Dasa Sadvaristhaya Dhimate Puritam Hridayam Yena Rama Premamrite Nami. Om Shri Tulsi Dasaya Namaha. Hari Om, a warm welcome. We will see the 11th section of Chaupai and Doha today. We will chant the section first. Mani Manika Mukuta Chhabi Jaisi Ahi Giri Gaja Sira Sohana Taisi Nripa Kirita Taruni Tanupai Lahi Sakala Sobha Adhikai. तैसे ही सुख कभी कभी तबुध कहि उपजहि अनत अनत च बिलहि भगति हेतु विधि भवन बिहाई सुमिरत सारद आबति धाई रामचरित सर बिनु अनहवाए सो श्रम जाई न कोटि उपाये, कवि को बिद असहृदय बिचारी, गावहि हरि जस कलि मलहारी, कीन्हे प्राकृत जन गुण गाना, सिर दुनि गिरा लगत पछिताना, हृदय सिंधु मति सीप समाना, स्वाति सारदा कहहि सुजाना, जो बरषई बरबारी बिचारू, होहि कबित मुकुता मनि चारू, जुगुति बेधि पुनि पोहि अहि, रामचरित बरताग, पहिरहि सज्जन बिमल उर, शोभाति अनुराग, सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। मणिमाणिक मुकुता छवि जैसे, आहि गिरि गज सिर सोहन तैसे। तुलसीदास जी is a great admirer. When I say admirer, he observes every single aspect in this beautiful world and he picks what is required to project the glory of Bhagavan. It is very common in our Laukika Jivana also. We find everything according to our ways of life, according to our whims and fancies of life, according to our taste. We turn tables only to, our advantage. Similarly, Tulsidas ji also takes the example of the entire world in its own fashion and turns it very beautifully to express the glory of Bhagavan. And he also directs our mind. This is the beauty in it, you see. He directs our mind towards Bhagavan. He says, you don't have to search somewhere. Here and now, right in front of you, everything is nothing but expression of Bhagavan. But how do we see it is what we have to think. He says, Ahi. Ahi means snake. Giri, this is there in the second line. Giri means mountains. Gaja, elephant. Sira soina taisi. Ahi, Giri, Gajasira. Gajasira means the head of elephant. In all these things, there are precious aspects in them. You may wonder, Swamiji, what can be anything precious in a snake? It is full of venom, it's full of poison. But you must have heard Nagamani, is it not? A snake which over a period of time has developed that mani. We have discussed this also earlier. Mani. Manika in the first line, the second one he says Manikam. It's also one of the rubies. Mukuta, pearl. Chabi jaise, just as it is so beautiful, Ahi, snake has got mani, nagamani. That is also beautiful. Giri, mountain. In fact, now it is very, very interesting because now it has been talked a lot. How? In Bharata, we have found lithium, which is also called white gold. Hectares of land of lithium which was discovered. Think, white gold. It was all there in the mountain underneath. We did not know. Suddenly they found out, and they found out that it was in huge area. Gajasira means in the head of Gaja, elephant, you have those tusks which are very, very expensive. And today, lot of engraving. You would have seen if you had gone to some these craft shops, handicraft shops, especially government handicraft shops, you will find beautiful frame with Gitopadesha pictures. And you also have Bhagavan Sri Ramchandraji Parivara photos, where the ivory is engraved in that. It's very expensive, right? So the tusks are very expensive. We also know how important it is, because we had one dacoit, Veerappan, in the South India, who would, remove all these tusks. He was also an elephant poacher. And then he would smuggle them. That expensive they are, that costly they are. Rather, to put it in our style, that valuable they are. Now look at this snake's money. Giri, the wealth which is there underneath the mountains, and Sohanatese, all these are very expensive. Right? We all know about it. But interestingly, look at this very beautiful way of presenting. All of them, in its own original place, have no value. Think. In its original place, it has no value, but it is invaluable at a different place. Now, this is what Puja Gurudev beautifully says. A thing by itself has no value. But that thing plus human effort adds value to a thing. And he gives a very beautiful example. He says, iron by itself has no value, a piece of iron. But a man picks up that piece of iron and then beautifully makes it into a knife and puts a handle to that knife. Now what happens? The same iron, the piece of iron is valuable because it is human effort plus utility. Now look at this. Nripakirita taruni tanupai. Now all these money, manika, mukuta, the diamond and pearls and rubies, which are all very valuable indeed, they add value where? Not in its original place, but Nripakirita, when it is there in the kirita of the king. Or Taruni Tanupai, when it is worn as a necklace or an ornament when the women wear. Very interestingly, you will find all the advertisements you see regarding jewelry, women only will be there. Think. No men will be put there. If at all there is one or two, it might be only an exception prove the rule. Is it not? Everywhere women is shown. Think. Anyway, that is a different topic of discussion by itself. But the point here is, even Tulsi Dasi says, Taruni Tarupai, when they wear it as an ornament, then it adds value. Lahahi sakala sobha adikai, then they also increase in their beauty, in presentation. Therefore, though it is not valuable at its original place, an effort to bring it either to the kirita or an ornament on the women's body adds lot of value. Similarly, Taisahi, like that. Sukabi kabita buddha kahahi. Sukabi, a good poet with a good poetry, beautifully written, Buddha kahahi, when he utters them, upajahi anata chabilahahi. it becomes very, very beautiful, it becomes valuable, it becomes a guide, and it becomes an object of enjoyment. And people really revel in it in many cases when it comes out and when people appreciate, people understand the glory. Think. And then he says very beautifully, Bhagati hetu vidhi bhavana bihai sumirata sarada abati dhayu. What a beautiful thought. Sumirata, when, see, any kavi or anything, even movies today, when they start with one prayer. The movie have nothing to do with that prayer actually. Movie will be so terrible sometimes, horrible, and only full of violence and vulgarity and etc., etc. In spite of it, thanks to the culture which we have developed, the initial starting they would put one photo or a vigraha or some flowers and everything, and then one prayer is done. Why? So that may this effort which is being put be successful. Prayer, invocation, prarthana. Whenever such prarthana is done, sumirata, when we remember, Sarada means what? Saraswati Devi. Every poet starts with a prayer, and prayer means prayer to that shabda, prayer to vocabulary, prayer through vocabulary to the Devata of vocabulary who is Sharada. Sumirata Sarada Abatidai. She comes running to the poet, it seems. So beautifully presented, you see. Bhagati Hetu. Hetu means for the sake of Bhagati, with devotion, when the Kavi prays to Sharada. Look at the expression. Bidhi bhavana bihai avati dhai. Bidhi means Brahmaloka. Bhavana bihai, she even leaves the Brahmaloka. And avati dhai, she comes running, it seems. Why? Because she is expecting Ramacharita Sara Binu Anavaye. Because she is expecting, now they are going to talk about Bhagavan. Now the Kavi is going to talk about Ramchandra, Ramacharita. Therefore, to enjoy that beauty, to enjoy that wonderful Kavita, she comes running. So Shrama Jai na Koti Upay. She takes so much of effort in leaving the Brahmaloka and running down. She comes running, it seems. It's a beautiful, imagination. Dramatically presented. What? Sharada comes running. Why? She is taking all effort so that now he is going to talk about Ramacharita. So she is coming running. But what happens here? Kabiko abida asa hridaya bichari. She is disappointed. Why is she disappointed? Because she expected Gavahi Hari Jasa Kalimalahari. She expected the Kavi to sing Gavahi Hari Jasa. Jasa means Yashas. Hari Yasha. He is going to sing the glory of Hari, Narayana, Bhagavan Vishnu, or here in this particular case, Bhagavan Shri Ramchandraji. Who is he? Kalimalahari, we have discussed. He is the one who will remove all the negativities, all the evil in the world. But what has happened? Keen he prakrita jana, evil-minded people. Very, very selfish people. Physically oriented people. Money-oriented people. Selfishly, keen he prakrita jana, gunagana. Instead of singing the guna of Bhagavan, Siradhuni gira lagata pachitana. Instead of that, they sing all irritating, useless, worthless, unimaginable, laukika, and all about lust and romance and worthless songs they sing. And therefore, lagata pachitana, she feels disappointed. And he says, Siradhuni gira. Look at the imagination. Tulsi Das thinks that Saraswati Mata, Sharada Devi, feeling so disappointed, she is as though dashing against a wall. Siradhuni Gira, she hits her head in a, for what did I come? I came so that this person is going to sing of Hari Yasha, Kalimala Hari Yasha. But then he is thinking of all the Laukika Vishya, Prakrita Jana they are called. And therefore, and now a very, very beautiful Upama, a simile is beautifully given. He says, now see, before I tell this, I would like to just explain one point and then we'll go back to this. It is the same thing which is said here. See, all of us are aware. What are we aware? About pearls. Where do the pearl come from? It is said, on a very beautiful day, near the Swati Nakshatra, wherever Swati Nakshatra is there, it is a very beautiful expression. Then the rains come down, and down below there is a shell which is kept, which is opened. You know about the shell, isn't it? When the shell is opened, the people who open the shell, cut open, and within that flesh, a lot of pearls will be there. They will remove. This is how the pearls are there. How is it formed? The raindrops, when it falls on the shell closes, and those raindrops become the pearl. Isn't it? It is not that every pearl will be the same size or something, whatever, but then they are pearls only, then they are collected. And then now see, once the pearl is collected, then slowly, very carefully, that hole is made. Here in Mysore, in one of our devotees' house, this is a very rare thing you will see. Generally, South India, the Rudrakshi is not much seen. It's all in the north, in the cold areas you get, especially Nepal, etc. You get very good Rudrakshi. In Mysore, one of the devotees' house, a beautiful Rudrakshi tree, very, very tall tree is there. Incidentally, in our ashram here in Sadhana Mandira, all the Rudrakshis are those which are grown in that particular tree. They were a very elderly couple. They are there. They are 70 plus. Oh, the couple, they take. It is a fruit-like structure. They will take all that. Then that elderly gentleman, he removes that fruit outer layer, cleans. It's a very big process. Then the whole Rudraksha has to be cleaned. And more important is that making the hole. And very many times what happens, if that particular place, that hole is not made, it breaks. Similarly is pearl. You have to be very careful and make the hole, otherwise it will break. And once the hole is made, then what do? Then they put a thread. They make a string out of it and then becomes the pearl necklace. Or they will add it into gold ornament also. But more often, pearl is made into a necklace and it is worn either to Bhagavan, like you can see one. This is not pearl, for your kind information, this is only beads. But similarly, you will find beautiful pearl necklace can be made. Now, this thought is being brought here. Hridaya Sindhumati Sipa Samana. Tulsidasi says, Hridaya, our heart, is like the Sindhu. It is like an ocean. And then from that the water is evaporated and then the clouds are formed and then the rain comes. The droplets, the drops of the rain, Mati Sipa Samana. Mati means intelligence. Our intelligence, when it is open, more often our intelligence is not opened. Why? We are so closed. Our intelligence hardly works many times. Exception sustained. Okay, I will give you that benefit of doubt. But normally happens, mati, intelligence, when we are open-minded, very many of us are not open-minded, that is what I mean to say. When we are open-minded, sipasamana, it is like that shell with open-minded. Swati Sarada, here Swati Nakshatra is like the Sharada, Bhagavati, Saraswati Devi. Kahahi Sujana, Jo Barashai Barabari Bicharu. When the Barasha, the rain comes, when it gets into that shell and the shell closes, Hoi Kabita Mukuta Manicharu. Think, from that intelligence which has received that drops of wisdom, that raindrops which falls in that mati becomes the wisdom. How beautiful. Mind is an ocean. Hridaya, the heart is very, very big. And in that heart, when the intelligence also is kept open, when the drops of wisdom come, they become the pearls, and that pearls come out as kavita, as the poetry. Jo barashai bara bari bicharu, hoi kavita mukutamani charu. It becomes like the pearls which guides millions of people in the future generation. And then he says, Juguti bedhi punapohi ahi Ramacharita Bharatag. Now, those pearls of wisdom, when it is beautifully, when the hole is made and a string is added, it becomes like wisdom. See, very, very important point here I would like to express. When the rishis, in their heat of meditation, they could listen to the Veda mantra, they could see the Veda mantra in their quiet mind. In fact, in the amanasthiti, they could receive these Veda. Very many rishis received this knowledge at very many places, at different period of time and in different pieces. It was Bhagavan Shri Veda Vyasji who brought all of them together and strung them together as Vedas and brought it into 4 different Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sama and Atharvana. And now we have them. Out of that, many have gone actually. In the collection, Veda Vyasji, whatever he could collect. Many have got lost also in between. And then he put them together and brought it into 4 volumes, Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharvana. And with that, we now have that much of Vedantic knowledge available for us to study and gain the wisdom. Isn't it? Similarly, all these Ramacharita Bharataga, it's beautifully the knowledge of the very Jivana Charitra of Bhagavan Shri Ramchandra Ji was brought together, and then they were strung together as Ramacharita. How beautiful. With what? Juguti. Juguti means yukti. What is yukti here? Yukti is intelligence. Through intelligence, they were all brought, and all of them pohiyahi, puni pohiyahi, they have been brought together and strung together as Ramacharita Manasa. And then Pahirahi sajjana bimala ura sobha ati anuraga. Pahiyahi sajjana bimala ura. Sajjana, all the people with wisdom. All the great Santa Purushas, they brought it to all of us, and they brought it as beautiful story of Bhagavan Shri Ramchandra Ji, which actually exhibits all those beautiful wisdom. Ramacharitra is just not a story. We saw this earlier and during the introduction. The story has lots to explain. The story has lots to contribute. The story gives us the direction as to how you and I has to live in this world outside. And with that wisdom, when we learn and we live in this world outside, Sobhati Anurag. Now look at that Ramacharita, such a beautiful Rama Katha. It brings Shobha. And it brings love towards Bhagavan. We will see it. Now remember, the Katha has not yet started. Katha has not yet started. Once the Katha starts, you will find all these there. Why is Tulsidas is saying all this? Because don't listen to Katha like one story being narrated. Find all these beauty while you are listening to Rama Katha. So he is giving us the way with which we have to see the Katha. He is saying how we have to listen to the Katha. He is also indicating what all we have to receive and what all we have to imbibe through the Katha of Bhagavan Shri Ramchandra Ji. Think. Sobhati Anurag. When I just listen like this, when I receive the wisdom like the droplets in the rain and put it into the shell of my intellect, it transforms into pearls of wisdom, and that pearls of wisdom we can wear, and it becomes Sobha, beautiful. And our intelligence will bring in that Anuraga. Anuraga is translated as love, but it is beyond that love also. And it can never be explained in other languages. That is the beauty of Sanskrita. Anuraga. Anuraga is a word used here. It is a Sanskrita word, but used in Audhi Bhasha. But that word indicates that pure love towards Bhagavan. Love which has no expectation. Love for love's sake. It is such a beautiful experience. Yaf pashyati, saf pashyati. We will continue tomorrow. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.